Yeah, next time save the whole trip to the sex museum for the podcast, I think. But
Nah, they don't need to know those dirty secrets.
yeah, it wasn't really on topic too.
Not not remotely.
Um, I'm gonna do the thing. Welcome to Soapbox. We're back with part two of our exploration of The Prisoner. Um, I'm just gonna start by saying that I don't feel every time I watch an episode, I feel like I'm not actually prepared for how good this show is. Um,
Completely. I still think that when I watch it.
uh,
It is pretty remarkable.
episodes, we're going by the list that will be in the show notes for every episode in case people want to watch along. And we're going by this apparently a fan approved list that's on YouTube where they're all in a specific order because there is no proper order, come to find out, and it's a hotly debated topic.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
um but yeah, so what
Seems
was the
seems
first?
par for the course for the prisoner that there's hotly debated topics. That seems about right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like Beck lyrics. I remember back in the day there were like entire fucking websites devoted to analyzing Beck lyrics.
Ah, true. I can remember that.
Uh,
Wow. Was there actual? Did they actually find any sort of coherence? I always felt Beck lyrics were just nonsense, but maybe I guess I'm wrong.
I have no idea. I just
I
remember
think I
that.
think according to Beck, he pretty much only writes nonsense. I'm pretty sure.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But nonetheless, people went on for weeks and weeks about the new pollution and what it could possibly mean. Things like that. Yeah. But that's I think that's uh this show knowing that it pretty much destroyed his career and then seeing how good it is. Like there's just so much tension already like built into that backstory. And I've yet to read Joe, you sent me over like it was a write-up you did.
Aye.
I've not read it yet. But I was thinking I'd read that between this and the next episode. Um,
Aye.
and
No, and listen, there's no pressure to read it. I just thought since I slapped it together and stuff, I was like, I might as well just send it. But obviously there's no pressure to read it, and there's also like no spoilers or anything. I was sure to not include anything that could, if anybody did look at it, it wouldn't ruin anything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'm just speaking sort of really vaguely and generally.
yeah, I do want to read it. Like I think I was a bit tentative at first because I'm like, let me see, let me just feel it out. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, no, I see how you can kind of phase switch. Like just getting that glimpse behind because we already discussed in the last episode how it's very much like analogous to his experience in filmmaking in general or in TV. Um, and I assume that's like you're elaborating on that more and more in the
Pretty much, aye. That's kind of where the most of the text is in that section. Just because it's really interesting, and as the episodes accrue more and more, you will both see it's it's just funny that he was like spy show, all this sort of allegory, all this happening hip youth culture, but I also really want to complain about my career, and I'm not even going to hide it. You know what I mean? I actually really like that, though.
yeah. Yeah, well, it like it knowing that there's like this other meaning to it and
Hmm.
it's taken from this other experience. With some things that kind of flattens it. You know,
Hmm.
with knowing what they meant by it sometimes can flatten like the possibilities or how you can let your imagination run wild, like finding your own meanings. But in this, it absolutely doesn't. Like it does not affect it at all because it is just so far out there. And so far, my wife's been keeping up with me too, and it's not really like something I expected her to be super into, but she's loving it as well.
Oh, that's great.
And we both just today we were like, I feel like every episode, it's like it's like you get backhanded, and it's like, oh, you thought you knew what you were gonna expect, and then it's like goes this other different direction. Even when the themes are similar, it's like a lot of nuance and like kind of what nerve it's trying to sort of provoke or pick at.
I think that's one of the coolest things about the show, especially as you revisit it, and especially if you revisit it over a number of years. Each time you go back, you see how much like the sort of constraints of the 60s television format, the sort of budget allotment and everything. You see how creative writers had to get, and especially if you were like, and I think initially ITV wanted them to do 26 episodes, and Magoon was like, we don't have enough for that. I don't want to have tons of filler. We can initially it was going to be a 7 episode miniseries, which I'm really glad they expanded on. Because you would have lost some really good episodes if they'd stuck to that. But aye, so even though there are technically episodes, like people can roughly divide the series into like number 6 episodes or village episodes, right? But sometimes the territory between those two categorizations are it's mucky, but you can sort of roughly divide them that way. But you just see how creative these old school and how talented these old school television writers were, where they can, like you said, they're playing with a lot of the same themes in a bunch of episodes, but they're tackling them from completely different angles and to completely different sort of tonal and artistic ends. It's really impressive.
It is very impressive. Like it, they keep, the theme of mind control is kind of a theme of the whole show. But it seems like no matter how many times they have like him hooked up to gimmicks or like drugged in the middle of the night and being like put through some weird programming process. It isn't ever the same thing twice, and it doesn't even feel like the same thing twice, even if the props are pretty much the same. Um, what was trying to think, what was the first one in this set of four?
I think it goes the General, Schizoid Man, Many Happy Returns, and Dance of the Dead.
Aye, that's the order I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I don't think I quite got Dance of the Dead. I finished it kind of confused. I mean, we'll get to it, but like,
Yeah, it's I'll be interested to talk about that one for sure because
I feel like I need to
also
watch it again, but there wasn't time before I got on this call. So, but the General, how did the General go? The General was the one with the mole and the like replacing him with a clone of him, basically.
No,
that's
Schizoid Man.
Oh, that was Schizoid Man.
The General is the AI one.
The speed learn.
Yeah. Oh, and the speed learn. That's right.
A 3 year university course in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Which is, it's so amazing because it sounds like some kind of thing you would see at 3 in the morning on an infomercial in the 70s.
It does.
It's so brilliant. Yeah. I'm sure that there's something out there that's like it's like speed reading, which I think was a 70s thing initially.
No, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found the sci-fi explanation of it was incredibly disturbing too. It was like the way that machine looked, and then the way that they described that it was basically like burning that information in directly onto their brain, like etching it in with an energy beam was like what I picked up from that. And it just sounds so brutal and archaic. Like,
and it's also like it's just this rote information. It's not thinking, it's just regurgitating what pre-written shit. Like it's not
So I love the really obvious parallels you can draw that you you couldn't draw back then in '67, obviously, but with like AI and the sort of generative computational learning and stuff, all these models which are start beginning to flower. It's interesting because obviously they don't literally just tattoo the information onto your brain, as in the general, but it's very easy. I've noticed it in my personal life. You guys probably have as well. For people when they speak about AI to sort of anthropomorphize it, almost
Yeah.
without thinking.
Mm.
And it's just interesting that the general's revealed to be a giant computer. You know what I mean? That like you said, cannot think. And it's interesting because the entire episode, I can remember thinking, "Oh, the general! I'm ready to meet this guy. What is this guy going to be?" And he's a computer. So
Yeah,
that's a nice anticlimax.
it was really good. It was really well done. It definitely got my ass. I didn't see it coming.
It and also his way of dismantling it, um, like asking it why. Like, uh, I might do this every episode we talk because like this also has parallels to Star Trek because they were constantly fighting massive AIs that were running whole planets and stuff,
Mm.
and often they famously would disrupt them with like logic questions like that or so, so I think that's interesting that these parallels keep going between these two shows.
It's
Um,
also, yeah, it's also interesting that it's called the General and like artificial general intelligence.
intelligence.
But I don't even know if that was a term then. Uh,
But I mean, it's also there's another pun in there because general you think leader, but what it's actually doing is just generalizing information. It's
yeah.
giving everybody like just a generalized
Uh,
like encyclopedic
that's a good point.
regurgitation.
It also seems like there's some kind of, and maybe it's just me, subtle commentary on like academia. It's like this, like
Mhm.
you just have it burned into your head and that's good enough for a college degree. Like you don't act like you were saying, you
Yeah.
don't you don't have to think. It's just regurgitation and
Aye.
that's good enough for the diploma.
Well, I actually think that is what you've just said there, quite literally, is one of the recurring themes that sort of
Mm.
pops back up. It's always in a slightly, it's always at a slight remove, in that it's no, it's no literally number six has to go to school. You know what I mean? But they're
Mm.
always tackling it for a slightly oblique angle. But that idea, uh, it's some of the stuff that Camille Paglia would talk about a few decades removed. The academia was essentially slowly becoming more fixated on like rote regurgitation, rote
Mhm.
memorization, rather than like critical thinking. You know what I mean? I think that is clearly a concern, Magoon, throughout the show.
Y-
Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because that basically I'm not sure. I don't know how the UK's public education is formulated, but the US it's based on the Prussian model, right? That's where that's its origination, and it was really meant to create soldiers and factory workers and people who weren't. It wasn't about critical thinking, and
Hmm.
I think weirdly as higher education has gotten more, um, quote unquote, democratized, but that's mostly through like loans, student loans.
Yep.
I think all of it's cheapened and is like, it's sort of like that, the way the public school education was structured is kind of bubbled up into the collegiate level.
Yep.
That seems like that's possibly one way this is happening.
Yeah, I think it got, commodified in a big way and turned into like profit for priority for profit. Um, And yeah, definitely there's a theme of like when you look at the education. I feel like where we're at now, everything is so obviously like against you being a critical thinker that
Yep.
looking back, a lot of things in the past look less like it would be a conspiracy theory now. Like, you go type in a word processor or on a website in your browser, and like you can type a few hundred words, and like there'll be a good handful of them that are spelled correctly but are fucking red underlined.
Yep.
And that's
True.
like when you see that and you're like, this is concrete proof right in front of me that they're trying to make me dumber. Then you
That's
can
a good
kind of,
point.
yeah, you can kind of look back and be like, there's a precedent for this because I'm standing in it. So how far back does it go?
And it's also I mean this is sort of part and parcel with everything that you just said there, but the way sort of the way that the digital environment, and especially as like a learning or information like delivery vehicle, the way all of that is like algorithmically tailored towards like funneling you into an echo chamber, into confirmation bias, into all these things that people don't even realize they're uh, they're seeing a version of reality which is not consensus reality. You know what I mean? It's artificial essentially. Uh, but what can we? How do you walk that back now? You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
is the internet now.
Right.
People
What?
won't like it if you just delete social media. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, it's probably got to get so shitty that people reject it out.
Aye,
Maybe where that's heading. I don't know.
aye. No, I think
There's
you're right.
there's I mean there's also so television as a medium wasn't that old
No, no.
when this show was made, and there were people at the time then that were talking about television as a mass control device too.
Marshall McLuhan.
Yes,
Aye,
yeah.
love that guy. I still think his books are worth reading, even though a lot of what he says now, you could technically just slightly gussy it up and apply it to the internet. A lot of it
Mm,
still actually applies, but it's just interesting that the whole idea, the television set being the idiot box. You know what I mean?
mhm.
The thing that was going to beam propaganda into the eyes of your family. It just seems so benign now compared to the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also the old conspiracy joke of like it's called programming to tell
Oh, yeah,
right?
aye. That's
Now
very
back
very
to
talk radio.
Yeah, now back to your regularly scheduled programming. That's
Programming.
Aye.
when they came back from the commercials. I think that's I don't know if you've heard about I almost said Dianetics.
No, tell me more. I'm
So,
curious.
Please tell me. Take me on a cruise.
do
Yeah.
you, do you need
And never
some?
let me come back.
Can I clear your thetans? Um,
That
no,
sounds intriguing.
well, it was cybernetics, like
Okay.
the study of basically the human being as like a programmable like system, and a lot of the people that were kind of into that like I don't know what you call like school of thought. It was kind of a philosophy. This is like pre-internet, I think it was right. I think it was right around the time that TV came out, but I'm not certain. And it's funny because they had all these ideas of like this interconnected. They basically had the idea of the internet back then. They just didn't have it named that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the television was like the 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 amoeba that the internet grew out of in a
Yep.
lot of ways because it's except I think it was probably um more powerful in some ways. Also, there's things that are artifacts of it that I don't know that we're gonna quite I don't know if we'll get the same way now. Like, I don't think you can have superstars quite the same way now, but
No.
as of compared to back then, because they're that the television was a much more gated, limited thing, although it went to a lot of people. So many more people were watching it. So the culture in general was much more monolithic, I
Aye.
think, in
Well,
some ways.
you could argue that there almost isn't a monoculture now.
Yeah.
The internet has effectively sort of flattened that notion because celebrities are, you have ten different ways you could contact any celebrity. You could send them any meme of them you've made. There is, you don't have that distance that you had
Yeah.
like in say 67. And that does so that really lessens the mystique of
Yes.
celebrity. I feel like, you know what I mean, and I'm part of the reason I don't really feel as intrigued by any current. I mean, I still like a lot of films and music and stuff, but the reason I'm not as intrigued by the individual creators now is the approachability. To be honest,
Mm.
because they
Yeah.
just they're just I could tweet them at any time. So, and therefore, I'm not interested in tweeting them.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I Something that clicked with me about like Hollywood dying was that it was really easy for it to happen because at this point in time, and it's the same with generally like politics in general, people have kind of had it. Like they're not falling
Hmm.
for the same kind of emotional manipulation as they used to en masse.
Yep.
Um, and I think a big part of that is because since 2020, everyone started really listening to podcasts more
Yep.
and watching other normal people just talk. And like when you stop taking in fictional characters all the time, you're not like as programmed to believe that acting is real. Like if that makes sense. So you see like Erica Kirk grieving in front of fireworks and like it's like, oh, come on. Oh, come
Hmm.
on. Like
Hmm.
people aren't falling for like if that had happened, if that same like Charlie Kirk uh memorial thing had happened back in even 2016 Trump's first presidency, I think it would have gone over just fine with the public. They would have been like, "Oh, she's grieving, but she's bouncing back." And at some point it just clicked and like people are like, no, she doesn't give a shit. Look at her standing there in front of fireworks. Like it's just that total tone of everything
Hmm.
has changed to her.
Like I don't really like that the streamer guy Destiny.
Hmm.
And I don't even really like a lot of the ways in which he spoke about the Charlie Kirk thing. But obviously, I know part of it is a sort of it's the attention economy. I know he's trying to churn the wheel of outrage to get. I understand that's the game he's playing. I get it, but he did make a great point. I thought about the Erica Kirk memorial thing, where he's like, and he really pissed a lot of conservatives off. But I thought, no, he's actually making a really good, a really good criticism there. It just the whole WWEification of the spectacle of this guy being killed was
Mm.
she tagged him on Instagram and then she like took a photo of him in the coffin and tagged him. And I
Yeah.
just thought everybody knows who that is. And really, I think, I mean, look, it's your husband. Who am I to tell somebody else how to grieve or whatever? But that's strange. That is strange behaviour. You know what I mean? I'm not even trying to be judgmental there. I just, I don't
I
know.
know, and that's kind of what I mean is that there are obviously people that are just like being shits on the internet, but there are so many people that are just normal fucking people who are at this point like, hang on, something is deeply wrong with almost everything that I'm
Yep.
seeing. And
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think uh with Hollywood, there's also Hollywood got much more uh moralistic and weirdly like It's surfaced as
Yeah,
it became more directly propaganda.
yeah, aye, openly propaganda,
Open
you could say.
and I think that's part of the problem. And then the other thing is the monocultural culture might actually be like two things: divisiveness and mediocrity.
Hmm.
I feel like that encompasses everything in a lot of ways. Um, because in a generation like McGowan's time, I mean, the prisoner really stands out,
Mhm.
and it's almost insane how unique it is against the landscape from which it emerged.
Mhm.
And that is the flip side of that, like gate kept cultures. When something wild punches through, it's really
Yep.
wild and really authentic. And I think that's the other thing, like just what you're talking about with Destiny or whatever it is. It's like he's playing a game. So even that's he's a streamer, which is supposed to be
Mhm.
real,
Yep.
but even that's bullshit too.
That's a great point. Yep.
Like there it's like authenticity is like very, very difficult and fragile, it seems like to maintain. Um and I, the whole as someone who's really into the aesthetics and visuals of things, the way the whole world has basically become a Zoom call, like what we're doing now. Like 90% of fucking YouTube videos is just this, like
Yeah, it's
someone
true.
talking into like a newscast, like what a newscast was. That's
Hmm.
that's the dominant like framing of everything now. And even the people I watch who are sort of critical of this, I have a hard time with them sometimes too, because I'm just like, all you're doing is just you're shitting on. It's not like they're not actually making anything; they're just commentating on the shitstorm. So it's like mediocrity on top of commenting on mediocrity. I don't know. It's really wild. And yeah, I guess that's the result of having a 3-year course in 3 minutes. You just everybody's brain just turns into like nonsense. Well, actually, that's the the people now are that's what they're trying to do. It's like there's like people get it feels like there's a especially specifically with politics, there's like a download everyone gets, and then suddenly everybody's supposed to lockstep into this thing,
Oh yeah,
and everybody has to think the same
yep,
way. And,
yep, yep.
yeah, um, uh, yeah, it's just crazy.
It's this weird, and you really saw it over the lockdown period during
Yeah,
COVID, where because the sort of moral presumption was we're all indoors, we're all in the same sort of roughly the same position. There is no excuse for no posting the BLM flag or whatever. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Whatever the
yes,
equivalent shibboleth that you need to say to signal that you're like a good, decent, morally upstanding person, and
yeah,
failure to comply with these purely symbolic gestures, which don't mean anything and don't benefit anybody, uh, that is taken as like complete proof positive that you are like a defective person and can effectively be what is the term they use in the prisoner? Is it unmutual or something like that? I always
uh,
think of that. I always think of that now, where I think they're declaring you unmutual, they're unpersoning you. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And it's for any minor infraction, including just some of the dumb stuff we spoke about last time, like I don't know, no having the latest linguistic update or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. The expectation that you can brute force human evolution, especially when it comes to like discourse, it's folly. It's just complete folly. You can't do it, so you will only be disappointed.
Yeah, I could be all right with yeah, they've always done flag things in the USA. Like as long as I've been alive, it's always like buy this flag to support this thing, fly this flag, put this sticker on your car. And back then, at least somebody was making money selling flags. Like I could at least understand, but now it's like it's a fucking icon.
Aye,
Nobody. Sorry,
aye.
that was kind of neither here nor there. It's just
No, no, that I actually think that's a good point though, because you can't even look at it from that sort of economic perspective and say, ah, well, people have to eat. You can signal your views and engage in commerce, which is one of the building blocks of every civilization, right? We could, but you don't, like you just said, we don't even, when it comes to the sort of digital representation of where you sit politically or what you feel about whatever, I don't know, whatever marginalized identity or whatever it is. So, people aren't even, you can't even take it down to the sort of brass tacks of economics because it is just symbolism. It's literally
Yeah.
just ones and zeros on a screen. It's so dystopian, dude.
well, it's like
It's
it's the new
crazy.
economy.
No, it is.
Well,
It totally is.
and it's the level of ephemerality to everything too.
Hmm.
Like, uh, actually, I didn't even think about this, but it's wild. Well, it's wild to me, like that the most popular platform, one of the most popular platforms is TikTok, which is 15 seconds commercials. I've never had TikTok, but I've had like my ex-wife was in it, was really into it, and she would show me. And I was like, this is just like flipping channels when the
Hmm.
commercials were on.
Oh, it is. It
Yeah.
definitely is.
The
And
seek button.
yeah, and everybody has turned into that because they're all like 15-second clips or 30-second clips.
Yep.
So everybody has like basically turned into commercials. That's how they generate anything. And it's it's the culture's bottoming out. It's got to crash at some point. I don't know when.
And that's partly why TikTok as a platform. Like I've never had a TikTok either. I've obviously seen a bunch of individual TikToks that people have sent me or whatever. But I've never actually made an account. I've never been on the website or the app or whatever.
Yeah.
But the idea, and I've actually seen it in my in some. I was going to say a name there. I've actually seen it in some family members, some people I know. It absolutely levels your attention span. You see
Yeah.
it happen in real time. It is, dude. It is not good for children. It really isn't. I
I
know
think it
there's no way to
that's
say that and
child
no sound
abuse.
like a boomer. Sorry, what were you saying there?
I just think it's child abuse.
Oh no, I think I'm pretty much right there with you. I don't think that's overstating it. It's not good.
At least up to a certain developmental age. Like
Hmm.
you're not cognitively equipped. Like adults aren't. Frankly, adults aren't cognitively equipped to like.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's so demonic because you think no, it won't get me. Like, oh no, I'm stronger willed than that. And like, no, you sit there and it's like it's just like crack, except the come down isn't quite as harsh.
Hey,
Well, it's weird because there's the other parallel to this episode because it's like all that information is like flashes, like it's like all delivered in like split second hairline,
aye.
and like is that what happened? Is that the step beyond TikTok where it's just like it's just like strobe effects at your face? That's like, is that where it's gonna go?
Have you guys seen Videodrome, the Cronenberg
Yes,
film?
yes. We
There-
actually did
There's
an episode on it.
oh, right.
Yeah.
I'll need to go back and give that a listen. I did not know you had covered Videodrome. I love Videodrome. There's a bit in that film that has lived in my memory for decades since I first saw it, and it's no even the really obvious stuff like the weird
Body
TV,
horror. Yeah.
all that stuff. It's one of the slightly more approachable bits of imagery that Cronenberg concocts. It's that idea of the place he goes to, the cathode ray mission, where it's
Uh-huh.
these like homeless people who like it's it's like exposure to like cathode ray tubing and stuff becomes this weird. It's one of these just crazy. Um, anytime I watch the film, I'm looking forward to that bit. I go back to it all the time. If I've ever been writing stuff, I'm always kind of ripping that off essentially. There is something about that idea that just you just want to put your face up to the screen and feel the sort of
The glow.
the glow, the flicker, and the fuzz you used
Yeah.
to get when you go up to the screen. There's something about the idea that there's these destitute homeless people who are like addicted to cathode ray exposure that is just I just love that. And I feel like there's a digital equivalent. That was a really long-winded way to get to my point there. I feel like there's a digital equivalent with TikTok, where the sort of 15-second contextless bursts are just
Yes.
information that's just floating in the ether with nothing tethering any it together other
Yeah.
than your algorithm. That is a similar thing to the cathode ray emission in Videodrome.
Yeah, it
Yes.
actually it feels like the same sort of like static that you get on the TV too.
Aye, definitely.
Uh,
Well, it's also weird, right? Because like most most sense of spiritual ascension is about light, enlightenment, like sensing light, seeing light, and then you have you have like the electronic bullshit fraudulent equivalent, the archonic version of that, you know?
yeah, that reminds me of in Kundalini, the Dr. Robert Svoboda's book about like the second book in his three-part series of his time with his teacher Vimalananda, who was an Agori. Um, he he says he's telling, teaching him about things, and he's like humans can't help but worship fire.
Mm,
And like when you fail to do it intentionally and like the correct way, like you'll end up doing it some kind of like fallen, not so good way. And he
ah,
pointed out like TV because he died before like internet was a household thing. His teacher did, but he was talking about it in terms of the television, and
mm,
I was like, that's still fire. Like all fire is the one fire. It's just
yeah.
it's the light and it's trapped and it's in this like demented form. Um, yeah, it's real. Actually, it might have even just been Dr. Robert Svoboda that said that in like an interview or something. I might totally be wrong that it's in that book, but I found that very enlightening because there is this like addictive quality, and I mean, like I know the blue light screens and whatnot actually they stimulate, and I think they do something to your dopamine receptors that's not good. And it's like the overstimulation eventually, I think, burns them out almost like a filament. Um, could totally be getting that wrong too, but
No, there's something to the effect like that where like it makes you more suggestible as well or something. There's
mhm.
other aspects. The quote about the fire reminds me of that was another. I don't know what era this criticism came about, but the thing about like families gathering around a television instead of a dinner table,
Yeah.
like the erosion of the social cohesion of families with because of televisions, and now because of phones and everything, we carry televisions with us constantly.
And like yeah, that originally was a campfire.
Yeah,
It
Aye,
was
yep.
we all sat around the campfire staring at the light. And now we carry our own artificial fire in our pockets and like
Hmm.
don't commune with even one another anymore in a lot of cases.
And symbolically, fire, one of its sort of key manifestations would be tradition, continuity. There's like
mm.
the Gustav Mahler quote where he said, "Tradition isn't the worship of ashes; it's the preservation of fire."
Ooh, that's good.
And that's great. And I think there is just total, completely undeniable Jungian truism to that observation. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Observably true. That sentiment.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's always been the fires where you told stories,
Mm.
and they were directly related to you and the people around you. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
and in a situation like that, like you're also kind of conjuring by telling the story. Like
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
in a liminal
Absolutely.
space, and so it's the same thing that humans are hardwired for. We're hardwired to go into like a ritual experience when gathered together around the fire. And
Hmm.
then yeah, when you replace that with programming, like
Mm.
it's just so insidious
Hmm.
because there's that ancestral like genetic genetically predisposed, like we get in that state of mind, like we open up a bit when we're in those that set of conditions.
There's a scene in David Lynch's File Walk with Me. It might be the missing pieces. I don't remember if it's the actual film or the missing pieces. Where the arm, the man from another place, the wee dwarf man, he says, what he say? I can't remember the exact quote. I have to paraphrase him here, but he says something like, "Electricity is ancient fire."
Mm.
And I just, you think about electricity as this sort of recurring motif, of even if you just stick to David Lynch, all the way from Razorhead to the Return.
Mm.
There's this, and obviously Fire Walk with Me, the poem, fire and electricity seem to be the. You've got the recurring shot of the fan in the Palmer House and the power lines and the
Hmm.
streets of Twin Peaks. There's this, and he never explicates that. It's just it's almost all conveyed visually, but
Yeah.
you pick it up internally. You know what I mean? You don't
Hmm.
actually need anybody to say like the cream corn is pain and suffering or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he I find that kind of thematic sinister vibe of electricity throughout his work to be like incredibly accurate. I honestly think he's one of
Hmm.
the most like he was a wizard. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
know. I totally agree. I totally agree. He hasn't, obviously he gets this for transcendental meditation and stuff, but has some of the best advice I've ever heard about creativity, about mindfulness, about meditation, and honestly about prayer. If you wanted to extend it into the sort of outright religious realm, is
Hmm.
the idea you've got to go into the deep waters to catch the big fish,
Yeah.
and once you get the idea, you have to just stick to the what invigorated you about that idea in the first place, and don't compromise on it, because that will be how you best serve the idea, is by no making compromises. That's just, again, almost, I think, demonstrably true. Even if you just look at his filmography or something, to take it back to The Prisoner, McGowan, literally to the detriment of his career, refused to compromise. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Maybe even when compromising would have been the smarter thing today, because a lot of people, again, just to stress this, like the last time we spoke, a lot of people really do not like the two-part finale. You know what I mean? And they really wish that somebody had said to Patrick McGowan, "Do not do this." But I think you guys, even if you don't love it the same way I do, I think you're going to be closer to my side of, oh no, this is great, this is valuable. I was right for him to take it in the direction he does. Uh, Fuck everybody else.
I think
I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm excited to see where it ends up. Uh, it's funny. I this of these four that we watched, the General was my least favorite of them, and for some reason,
Yeah.
I feel like we've got so much conversation out of it.
Actually, I think the General is one of my. I meant to say this earlier on. It's one of my prop. It's for, first or second least
Oh
favorite
wow.
episode of the show.
Oh, least favorite. Okay.
I
Huh.
I still like it. I don't think it's like a terrible episode, but there are episodes, kind of what you were saying earlier, Rev, about there are episodes that tackle similar ideas for just a sort of different perspective, a different angle, that I think are a bit more interesting. But Kurt, that is a good point for something that I'm saying is one of my least favorite episodes. We've all had a lot to say about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's generated a lot of conversation.
Well, it's kind of like if I said like my least favorite Tom Waits album.
Aye,
Um,
no, aye. That's exactly the right place I'm coming from. I still like the episode, and I never skip any of it. Whereas something like the Schizoid Man, I look forward to it every time. Anytime
Oh,
I force people to watch this show, I always think. Sometimes I outright say to them, at least get up to the Schizoid Man, and if you're just no feeling it after that, you can just stop it. You know what I mean? That episode's crazy.
okay. That's interesting you say that because I texted Rev about this, and I was like, I think this might be the most evil episode so far. It is
Evil.
fucking villainous. Yeah,
Aye,
like
yeah.
I see what you mean.
what they do to him is, and it's so funny because like there's even the prior episodes, there's a sort of equivalence of this, like fucking with his mind and messing with
Hmm.
him while he's asleep, but for whatever reason, the fact that they create a doppelganger of him. They make the doppelganger the superior version of him, and then put him in the place of the what the doppelganger is supposed to do. And it's just this like level of mind fuckery. And then they torture them and make him use his non-dominant hand too, so he's
Oh,
shitty
yeah,
on.
aye, yep.
It's just like, so he just it's gaslighting par excellence. Like there's
Uh-huh.
no, like, to just have your whole world, like the whole world is telling you you're fucking wrong, and to the point where like unless he hadn't been injured on his fingernail, he probably reality would have totally slipped away from him. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And they like Pavlovian condition him into not even enjoying his favorite foods and
yeah,
to
that's right.
having a
That's right.
new favorite food. Like that is, I get what you mean actually about evil. There is a they properly de dehumanize him by making him into somebody else who is a weird, just on the weird recursive loop level, is an inferior version of the person he already was.
Yeah.
It is kind of mind melting when you think about it. I
Um,
just
I,
what an episode! It's just great.
I think what was so disturbing to me about it was, every episode you watch the beginning and he's yelling, "I'm not a number, I'm a man." And then throughout that whole episode, like the struggle that it creates in him is he's actually going, "No, I'm number
I'm number
six.
6.
I'm
Yeah.
number six."
Ah, that's a good point. I've never
And
really thought about it that way.
like that to me was like that was the whole point was it's getting him to like desire and reach for the thing
Aye.
that he doesn't want to be in the first place.
He's kind of opted in to the village by proxy at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye.
It's it's just so devious because it's like it's just the degree of gaslighting and the layers involved. It's like fuck. And yeah, if it weren't for that little wound, I I don't think anything else would have pulled him back. It's just, I mean, I feel like anyone who's been like rather liberal with their experimentation with psychedelics has had a moment where like they were like, "Oh God, am I going to be me again?"
100. But well, that's another prism you can view this episode through. If you've ever tripped, if you
Yeah,
ever took mushrooms, sufficient quantities of mushrooms or acid, anything like that. I've never done DMT, but loads of people I know have done it. Um, I gather from my own experience and their experiences with DMT. Um, I've absolutely had the moments where I'm like, I'm going to come back to proper lucidity, and I won't be me anymore. Something will have the white light behind my eyes will be a different white light than the one that was there before I started to trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that episode, the Schizoid Man, really does hit on that same kind of. It's like existential paranoia, like body paranoia,
hmm
because
yeah, you kind of feel it in your skin.
yeah, definitely, because it's like you realize, and this is obviously this is just a theme that the series hits time and time again, but you realize that the sort of the boundaries between identities is completely negotiable if you break somebody's mind. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Which is it's also interesting because um at this time where we're standing now, we have like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, a few months ago, like that the US government finally admitted and released, which nobody's really been talking about, even in conspiracy circles. Like nobody's talking about this much. Project fucking Monarch, like they admitted it. This is something that would get you canned as like a crazy person for years if you brought up Project Monarch to anybody. They'd be like, "Oh, that's just crazy talk." But they admitted it.
Hmm.
And the whole point of Project Monarch was it was MK Ultra, but geared towards Hollywood and towards
Yep.
like training stars basically to be state programmed agents.
Was that not one of the things? I forget exactly what you call it. The something kitty, something kitten, something like that. Uh, it's the thing that people said they did to Marilyn Monroe, where she was essentially MK Ultra'd for Norma Jean into Marilyn Monroe. Like like there was a kind of, what do you call it, like a governmental psyop type aspect to that transformation. Uh,
Huh.
I'll link you to some stuff at some point, right? I promise. It's no as woo woo as it sounds. Uh,
Well, yeah, it's not woo-woo at all because they admitted that they did it. Like that's
aye.
the thing is it's like it takes time to even let that sink in that it's like no, they just said like we actually did that. We programmed people to become movie stars. So like saying it triggers this like is that crazy? But it's like the fucking US government admitted it. So
Did
no.
they say who they did this to?
No, I'm. It was heavily redacted documents, like from what I
Hmm.
Okay.
understand. But apparently, there's enough there that it confirms, like, not specificity, but that project was exactly what people were saying it was, for years.
And it was specifically Hollywood entertainers.
It was that and more than that. And I forget. I think it was also
I,
musicians.
there's so many Project whatevers that
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
I, I've and I've heard Project Monarch. I'm sure I can't
Aye.
remember what, probably because I got psyoped out of remembering what it is.
And
Um,
and like a lot of people think that Project Monarch is kind of like still in play, and
oh,
that's
I'm
why.
sure it is.
Like
That's the
why
thing.
why you
It
get
will
like
be.
all the Nickelodeon shit, like where all the child stars that came out of Nickelodeon are just their lives are just fucked, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, being a child star might just do that on its own, but it kind of seems like more than that.
Hmm.
Um, well, it's funny you bring up Marilyn Monroe because there was a book I read that had an anecdote um, about her. I think it was some journalist was hanging out with her on the streets of New York, and there's this moment where like they're just sort of walking out in public, and everybody's minding their own business. This is busy streets of New York, I believe. And Marilyn Monroe turns to the journalist and says, "Do you want to see her now?" Meaning the actual
Oh,
Marilyn Monroe.
I've
And,
read this. Aye,
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And she said, "Yeah, sure." And then the journalist was like, "It was the weirdest thing. It was like suddenly she transformed right in front of me, and then everyone noticed her, and like everybody started reacting to her, whereas just seconds before, everybody was just ignoring her." Yeah,
That's that's creepy because in that case, it sounds like I mean, so if you're tweaking consciousness, you're messing with spirit stuff. So like if they're I don't know. That's creepy. It's like,
Hmm.
what
yeah.
if you create an egregore with a bunch of magicians and psychics, and then in the process of programming and brainwashing someone, you like bind that to them? So like, I mean, maybe it's less programming in the way that we'd think and way more like ritual woo-woo. Because, oh, that was the main thing about Project Monarch was it specifically states that they mixed MK Ultra techniques with satanic ritual abuse.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go down this rabbit hole the night. Oh, man, that's goddamn.
Yeah.
This is gonna occupy me for the next week or something.
So, yeah. We have to do like a side series about this now. But it goes back to like I and just how poignant this series actually is because it's entangled in like
Things that were
not only that
they were
it's
probably happening.
yeah at
Yeah.
that time and also showing it's like his experience in the film industry plus all this mind control stuff and it's
Mm.
really interesting to like situate all that kind of together.
Which okay, so that now there's a whole other mythologizing about this because did his career end because he was telling too many tales out of school? Like there's that aspect too.
And even if he didn't know,
Oh yeah.
he might not have even been privy, but he might have accidentally spilled beans.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't really go in for all the conspiracy theories about Eyes Wide Shut, but I do think, I mean, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise have said that Stanley Kubrick said to them, a cabal of child abusers who belong to a particular ethnic and religious denomination that I won't specify, uh, um, run Hollywood, and
Hmm.
he has seen evidence of it firsthand. No, I don't necessarily believe that that has to one to one mean all the stuff that like Roger Avery and Quentin Tarantino believe that like he was murdered and all that. I don't think you have to go that far with it, but I don't think he was lying. Basically,
Yeah.
I fully believe that he saw stuff that at least led him to believe that.
Yeah.
Probably quite compelling stuff, I would guess. You know what I mean? I saw That's terrifying. I'm always terrified by all these old satanic, like the Kenneth Anger Hollywood Babylon stuff.
Mm.
Any of these satanic or really, really outre beyond the bounds, good conscience ties to the occult with Hollywood and stuff. Always grabbed my imagination, but I kind of hate to think about it for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
there's
it
there's like okay, so it's weird for being a magician and like reading, certain occultists who are like talking about these things. Uh, and like, looking into it, it's like some of it has some pretty nasty implications as far as like where their like worldview, philosophy, and ethics situates a person. And I'm not sure where like I feel like there's some kind of divide or cognitive dissonance where like I feel like the occult world kind of is almost, I don't know, maybe naive to how like dark some of it could actually be. And they just I'm not actually sure what's going on there, but I feel like if someone mentions Michael Aquino and it's not like in a holy fucking shit, how did this guy end up in this position of power in the US military and he started the Temple of Set? Like he doesn't seem like a very good guy if you read his philosophy and what he believes. So like I don't know, but I feel like then when you go and like look into it from the occult angle, it's people just talking about this guy who started the Temple of Set, and it's so fine. And like it's like, but if you look at the power plus the ethics, like you can kind of intuit the abuse and the like all the other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with all that, but it's odd for me because I'm steeped in both worlds and I'm kind of curious. I would love to get like a conspiracy expert and then like some occultist who's like really educated on like Satanism and Luciferianism and Temple of Set and basically all the darker stuff that's kind of entangled in the deep state in certain ways.
Mm.
Um, whether or not it's just because they saw Jack Parsons get results and they're all trying to fucking copy it or what, but they definitely understand like how high theater and ritual are kind of the same thing. Um,
yeah, it's also funny. I don't know if you've ever there's like a couple of like YouTube documentaries about like Parsons and Crowley and his whole and the what was the war game
Thelema?
where
The
yeah,
Babylon Walking?
which one was it where he actually went out in the desert and was scrying the Enochian keys? I forget which one that
I think
is.
that was Babylon working.
That was
Aye,
the Babylon.
I think
Um,
so.
well, it's funny because you get a sense of like the demands Crowley put on his students, and I was like, I would have told this guy to go fuck off a long time
Yep.
ago, because he
Yep.
because he would demand they do stuff like there was some ritual where like if you used like certain words like common words or something like that, you were supposed to cut yourself.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
big into that sort of if you transgressed
It's
these sort of linguistic barriers that
kind
he'd
of
set up,
reason
you had to self-flagellate.
flagellate and hurt
Aye,
yourself, and I was like, this
crazy.
guy's just a sadistic fuckwit.
Definitely.
Like
He's
I
he's in he's in the Marquis de Sade camp, you know what I mean?
yeah,
He
yeah,
gets
yeah.
off on the subjugating people and forcing them into abjection and humiliation and all that. Some people
Mhm.
are just some people undeniably get into the occult uh with a view towards that, to having that power over people.
Well,
Yes,
I think a lot of people are drawn to it because they've
they
had
have no
power
power.
taken from them. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's like the trouble is if you find it again and you haven't yet healed, then it just runs rampant.
Well, and there's also an aspect of like once you do know that you've had exposure to this in your own life and you realize the reality of it, and then there's a sudden thing where like, okay, why is the majority of our culture think this is fake and bullshit? And but then there's another thing was like, well, if the elites don't think it's fake and bullshit, isn't there something about that, them keeping it? It doesn't it
Hmm.
benefit them to make us all think that this is fake
Hmm.
so that they can more easily use it to their advantage?
Yeah.
Um,
Um, absolutely. That's interesting about the that okay, so when it comes to Parsons, I remember reading at one point that Crowley had written a letter to someone worried about Parsons because he heard that he was hanging out with uh L. Ron Hubbard.
yeah, yeah.
And so like I always come back to that in my head like say what you want about Crowley, but like how bad does a person have to be that Aleister Crowley is worried about you? Like so what is it?
Aye,
Like how fucked
aye.
up is L. Ron Hubbard?
Have you guys, either of you guys, seen the Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden wrote a Aleister Crowley horror film called The Chemical Wedding? Have either of you guys heard of this?
No.
I've heard the name, but I didn't know that's
Aye,
what it was. That's
he,
interesting.
he done an album called The Chemical Wedding, that sort of loose concept album about the occult and stuff. But the film is nothing to do with the album. Um, it's actually, no, I don't want to say it's necessarily a good film, and I haven't seen it since like 2010, 2011, somewhere in that region. But I did watch it a lot, and it's crazy. It's about Aleister Crowley being possessing somebody's body in modern day England,
Huh.
and it has this really weird, like half, like almost Lars von Trier transgressive kind of stuff, and half Hammer horror, kind of really campy
Huh.
sensibility. It's a really really strange film. Again, I don't want to necessarily say it's good, because I don't remember thinking, "Oh, this is great," when I watched it at the time. Although I did watch it multiple times. Clearly, there was something there, but you should probably give that a watch at some point, just because it's relevant to so much of this interesting stuff, and it has. I don't remember the specifics, but it has a really insane quadruple twist ending that I've never seen another film attempt to just pile twist after twist like this, and I can only imagine it's really bad, like the ending at least. But
It's like
interesting.
A Russian doll, but it's all M. Night Shyamalan's.
Not 100%. That's a great way of phrasing that, actually.
That sounds really interesting. And also, coincidentally, it's the plot of half of Occult Reddit. Like, I'm possessed by the spirit of Aleister Crowley.
Oh man, I haven't
Um,
gone on a cult Reddit in a long time.
Not of a.
no,
As,
that was a total guess, but I bet it's right.
I bet you're right.
I think you probably are
Uh,
100% correct. I'm actually an Egyptian pharaoh reborn, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of that shit. I don't know.
Who was then Aleister Crowley and is now me.
aye.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
Wait, what do you do now? Oh, you live in your trailer in Idaho? Oh, okay. Hmm.
The various UFO uh, disclosure subreddits. I've not been on any of them
Okay.
in a maybe a year and a half or something. But for a while there, I was kind of addicted to going on them. They are everything you just said, but for UFOs.
yeah.
It's the exact same flavor of uh, I'm being possessed by greys, and I blame MAGA voters. It always devolves into Democrat versus Republican stuff, and I'm like, how you'll start a thread not expecting it to end up there, but it always does. It's crazy.
It's
It'd
good
be
Grace for Kamala. Is that is that
it would be really fun to like write a story that's uh it feels like satire, but then like as it goes on, it like gets away from that. Like if you just went on these subreddits and took the most weird, insane shit that people actually believe and like wrote them into a story, but like made them true, and then elaborate on like the politics of behind the scenes of the aliens and the spirits that are all manipulating these political, factions or whatever, and then from there pan out to like just one asshole controlling both sides and like
I like
it'd be kind of fun.
the Illuminati trilogy, but like Reddit.
Yeah, actually,
Aye,
it does kind of seem. I read part of it when I was like really young, but that's the vibe. Yeah.
aye.
Um, what was okay, so the third one that we watched. What was that one? Or what was
that
the
Many
other one?
Happy Returns,
Many happy returns.
which is also
I fucking loved this one. Yeah.
yeah, this one's like the saddest to me so far in some
Aye,
ways.
I love those the vibes of the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Well, there's like almost no
Well,
dialogue.
well,
Sort of like 28 days later, or the first.
That's
If,
exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
you know what I mean? You got that really, or just the desolate, empty city streets and stuff. And I love the sort of bravery. We're not going to have number six speak. He's just going to take all this in visually. You know what I mean? I love the sort of confidence there to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's something you would have more guts to do in a film, but like
Hmm.
for TV to open a 1 hour episode with 15 minutes of silence is pretty ballsy.
Hmm.
I also I love the revelation in this that sort of continues in the next episode too, that the island has one cat
Yep.
Mm.
and just one cat, and I think maybe that's actually number one is the cat. But the this one's also as much of a mind fuck because he gets trapped by his own sense of sort of wanting justice for what's been done to him, and like and proving that, you know, about this place, and that so that even when he gets away he's still trapped by it, and that's really really diabolical too.
Mm. It almost feels like a sort of literalizing or an expansion on the earlier Chimes of Big Ben, where
Hmm.
the sort of number two gambit in that episode is the reveal that they were only pretending that he go out the village.
Yeah,
Whereas this one is, like you said, it is really sad actually. It's even more insidious because he does genuinely get out, and
yeah,
then they just sort of funnel him back in.
yeah.
He funnels himself
Oh, he
Back in.
funnels himself
It's
back. Actually, great point.
they just wait, and then they could have only been involved with the pilot, like, and the rest could have been legit. I mean, I probably not because then those other guys on the team would have information, but man, I cannot say information without hearing information. The whole conversation, every time either of you have said that word, I just want to be like, information. I don't even know what I was talking about
you
now.
could cut that in too if you wanted to. What? Well, I mean, they're definitely in. They're in control for a while because I think they send the boat after him because they're all speaking that weird made up language.
Yeah.
Like even the like Romani people he meets
It's nonsense.
yeah, it's also that same nonsense language. And then the crazy thing is he gets back to his apartment and what is the number on his apartment?
Oh, I didn't notice.
It's
Oh wait, what,
one.
what? You're right. You are right. You're right.
I
So
got
his
goosebumps. Guys, I got goosebumps.
so his apartment's number one. He goes in and then like it's essentially number two living in his apartment, although he doesn't know that's number two yet. Although,
That
given the context of your show, you're like, I don't know, I don't trust this bitch immediately.
Yeah,
I mean, she's very helpful and all that. Immediately, she's got his car that you see him
Yes.
drive at the start of every episode. You're like, she's probably something to do with the village, but you sort of hope that she isn't. But that's a great number two reveal. Even though I agree with you, it is you can kind of see it coming just because of the format of the
Yes.
show and the conceit of the number two like archetype or whatever. But I love that and I like that actress. I think she does a really good job.
She does, yeah. Well, it's also amazing because she's like, because the next day will be his birthday, and she's like, I'll make you a cake. And then when he arrives back in the village, she shows up with the cake.
That is absolutely savage.
Fucking bitch.
And then and then it's so eerie too because there's am I right? Like there's not even people in the village until she comes in, and then suddenly there's a parade, and like it's come back to life.
It's almost like in the first episode where it's almost like everybody's been told to be still,
Yes.
like just outside of view, and then when she comes in, it's almost like some signal is let off for everybody to start. They're having like a wee parade or something. It looks like a wee party.
Yeah.
That's a great point. It sort of comes in. It comes in as if the sound is being piped in via speaker.
Yeah.
I love the wee touches. This show really does make you feel with its sort of creative decisions like that. You feel very paranoid watching it.
What's also crazy is that like them kind of being frozen and just coming to life and suddenly making noise. You like already have built into the mechanics of their technology that he can do that. Like number two can do that, right? That's like one of number two's powers is he could actually freeze everyone and make them just suddenly. So it's so interesting how you can like you're like, but how did they? Oh yeah, he's got that power. Like they actually already explained that that's something they can do.
I mean, you can literally see in your mind's eye she's probably walking up to his house with that cake and just says, "Everybody be quiet," and then everybody stops. You know, like literally just stand still. That's so sad. I can't believe that she gives him that cake. That is the
Here's your consolation.
aye.
You were this close. You were this close.
Oh, I can remember the first time ever seeing that episode, and the minute that pilot says "be seeing you," I'm just like, no, please don't do it. And then they literally eject him back into the village, which is something about the visual there I really like. It's kind of reminds me of Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah,
Aye,
that moment really, I felt completely betrayed. Like it was me in that.
definitely, 100%.
That hurt.
Yeah, this and Schizoid Man are kind of like weird companions or something in a way. Like they're both demonically cruel in very different ways. Um, the other thing I wanted to say about Schizoid Man is that this isn't ever said, but the implication is like, okay, so they can basically like make doubles of anybody. So there's like, what does that say about what's going on outside of the village? And then what does it say about the people that he might run across that are from his past life? And well, yeah, I mean they're often traitorous in their own way.
Hmm.
um,
Aye, obviously I can't. I'm not trying to be coy here. I can't really join in on the speculation there because I know where everything goes. But
okay.
aye, aye, that's. I mean, that's all I can say. I literally can't say anything else.
Um, the thing that struck me so hard about this one was I knew that if I were him, uh, it would have been the one that broke me.
Mm,
I could feel that because the first time he thought he made it out, he figured it out that it was a tape recorder and he was still in the village. But this time he actually made it out. There was no question about that.
yeah.
And to make it that far, to begin the investigation, to solve the investigation, and in the same moment, just find yourself exactly back where you started, which takes the scope of their control from local to almost infinite.
Mm,
Like, no longer did they just have their hand like around the edge and tricking him into thinking that he was escaping, but it's like, no, he actually escaped and it didn't help.
That's a good way of phrasing it. I feel like they've laid the groundwork for that with a lot of the discussion in the first two episodes about the village. The idea is that the village is almost like a proof of concept for what the rest of the world
will be.
will look like. So I think that idea is sort of it's in that same rough territory.
Hmm.
The reach extends, like you said, it's functionally infinite.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can't really you're still in the village even if you make
Hmm.
it out.
That is chilling. That is a really chilling idea.
Because then it's like it takes on a different quality than yeah. And what is there how do you fight that anymore? Like psychologically, other than just like, well, this is it. This is just how it is now.
Well, it's also that the fact that they understood him enough to let him go through with that, knowing that he couldn't help himself and would return because he would not be able to let go of the injustice done to him, and trying to get the word out and pursuing it, and that also speaks of, well, they have his number and probably more than he realizes.
Magoon does a really good job across these the Schizoid Man and Many Happy Returns. I think there's a nice sort of in the next episode as well. There's this great quality he really leans on where so just like crazy exasperation, but you can feel that there's a real deep wellspring of like he is being driven mad essentially
Yeah.
by the realization of what you guys have been saying that getting out the village doesn't even necessarily mean you have escaped it. And just the implication of that. I'm sorry to repeat myself. I just cannot believe she brings him that birthday cake. That would that is the worst birthday ever.
It's like it's cold as fucking ice. It's like it's just so brutal.
That's
Uh,
potentially one of the cruelest number twos. I feel like that move.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's another thing you're probably. Sorry, what were you going to say there? Sorry.
oh, just she's one of the few that hasn't seemed very concerned for her own personal well-being either. Like she doesn't seem like she's afraid she's gonna get turned into glue if she fails.
And I suppose I never really considered that, but she seems entirely comfortable with the
Yes.
arrangement. Aye, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to say there, they are one of my favorite. You'll definitely have both of you will have noticed it, uh, subconsciously, unconsciously, or otherwise. How varied the reactions at each number two is. I really love that it isn't. They, they allow the actors to really sort of imprint on that particular person in the number two role. So
Yeah.
some of them like Leo McKern, the second one, the big dude with the goatee, probably my favorite number two, a lot of people's favorite. They really let him lean into some interesting angles where there's like a strange sexual tension with him in number six. That's and I don't even think it's being played for humor or anything. I think he is just playing him as sort of obsessed with him. I think he literally says, I am obsessed with him at one point.
Mm.
It's just interesting and like that particular the many happy returns number two. You're so right about that. She has a real. She's not worried about being turned into glue. She's in her element. It feels like, and I just love that. I love that as a sort of subtle world building element.
Well, yeah, she almost feels like she's a kindergarten teacher or something.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, oh, you number six. We'll take it. We got you taken care of. It's fine.
It almost feels genuinely affectionate, but
Affectionate or concerned. Yeah.
but also kind of she's the one in charge, and
Yeah.
there's never any doubt that she's the one with authority. So
Yeah.
she doesn't have to become aggrieved or worried, and you totally get that through the performance.
Yeah, and it's wild because it's of the schemes so far, it's probably the riskiest.
Uh-huh.
You know.
The
Um,
Velma, he could have just said, right, fuck you guys.
yeah.
I'm going to France. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to lam it to America or something. But I suppose sort of is one of the themes as well. Is that sort of last time we spoke, I compared number six to Dale Cooper for Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
and I think a key sort of similarity in each of their characterization is that they have to solve the mystery. No, just because on a writing level they are the detective type character, but that's the thing that sort of the engine that sort of motivates them as
Yeah.
people. And you really see that in these episodes. Because I wouldn't even want to fly across the village had I got it.
Yeah, no. No, but you're 100% correct because his character, like the character that resigned for mysterious reasons, has some sort of moral code or ethical code that's very strong and very driven to make whatever that dramatic decision was. So there was no way he would ever be able to let that go. Yeah, it's he's um in some ways it's you start to I don't know, I'm starting to think like maybe he actually does like the village. He likes having this thing to fight that there's just yeah.
I I again don't want to really come down on anywhere firmly just because I know where things are going to go, but I do think it's very logical to be assuming that at this point that
Yeah.
he really seems motivated by more than just escape at this point.
Yes.
Yeah. He's letting the village become his Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. That's again a great comparison. I think.
Well, you made it.
Um,
I was just polishing.
I
Just like,
no, but
yeah,
I
it's
hadn't.
like it's just
I
he wants to destroy the village instead of saving the girl.
Yes.
I but I hadn't even really made the connection that if he's Dale Cooper, what would his Laura Palmer equivalent be? But no, you're so right. It would just be the village, getting to the bottom of the village, who is number one, all that stuff. Number
Yeah,
one, sorry.
it's not even it's starting to be not even about escaping it. It's about destroying this thing or taking it apart somehow, or at least understanding it, like why this is. I think that's I I think as the series goes on, I'm starting to see that might be more. That's becoming more the motivation than just freedom. Because if it was just freedom, yeah, he would not have ended up back where he was in Many Happy
Right.
Returns.
Well, I
Which
mean,
also, yeah, what a fucking name, Many Happy Returns.
Great name.
Hmm.
Um, Now the next episode is Dance of the Dead. I'm with you, Rev. I'm a little perplexed by this one. I don't know. This might. I don't know if this needs another viewing to really make sense of.
I feel like it never came together for me, so I am actually having like a really hard time remembering anything about it, which is weird because I watched it an hour before we hit record here. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's I'm sure Joe can enlighten us, but
yeah, what was
but
this episode about?
but
So this is the episode where the it begins on a slightly sort of, it's almost like a little short story into itself before the rest of the episode, where number six has been abducted and he's been put under hypnosis by a former colleague, Dutton, I think his name is.
yeah,
It's really embarrassing that I remember this character's name actually. And well, like Kurt said earlier, he meets the cat. Um, the current number two suggests that he get a girlfriend. So they sort of insinuate, oh, you should try domesticity. You might become like more amenable to life in the village if you treat it like life outside, like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And he learns about the carnival that's being held, and I mean, to just sort of cut through the plot machinations, there's a sort of kangaroo court
yeah. Mock
that gets held,
trial.
a mock trial.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of people in wigs. This is, I will say this as well. This is also one of the lesser episodes to me. I do think it's a bit diffuse. It's sort of
That's a good word for it. Like,
yeah,
it isn't, or the elements. I mean, it's still like fun and entertaining, and it looks good
yeah,
and all that. But it doesn't get cinched together with the tight bow of the wee light bulb aha moment.
mm,
yeah.
It's this sort of feels like a filler episode to me. It's just mere. It's just another number six story.
it kind of felt like it should have been like episode number 3 or something.
And maybe if it was earlier, that would have improved how it lands. Because number six does feel especially new to the village in this episode. There's
I
actually
think he even says that a couple times, doesn't he?
I was going to say, I think there's at least two lines where he says, I'm
I'm
new
new
here. I've
Yeah.
never experienced a night here." So like
Yeah. There's that
he's
too.
he's never been awake during the night when because he's speaking about the milk and the cigarettes and all that. He's like, how did they get them into the village? Did they
Yeah.
bring them at night while everybody's asleep? And obviously, there's at least one episode I can think of where he has went outside at nighttime. So
Yeah.
I just forgot this. That's my bad. I should have said that if I'd looked at the episode list again. Maybe it would have leapt out at me. This is one of the episodes that in all the sort of fan viewing orders, people slot in like the sort of first four
Mhm.
places. You know what I mean? It definitely feels like an early episode.
Yeah. And there's other. So the Dance of the Dead. Well, so another plot point is that there's a body that's washed up on the beach that he's going to he plans to use kind of like as a message in a bottle. Like he's like cuts up his own photos and stuff, and I don't know. He goes to the wall at night. I don't remember if the picture. There's a picture of the guy, the dead guy, and his girlfriend, and I'm like, is that girlfriend the one that number two's trying to make him get with, or is that the same girl? I couldn't quite tell. But yeah, there's this whole thing. There's this whole subplot where he plans to use the corpse almost as like a message in the bottle to get information out about the village, and within that he runs into Roland. Is his name Roland?
Roland Dutton, I think.
Roland Dutton, and then I think they're torturing Roland or something, and he runs across a kill order, like the whoever's in charge wants that guy dead, and him getting that message, or I don't remember why they throw the court happens. I can't remember what the inciting incident for that is, but then they call Roland as a witness, and then Roland throws him under the bus. Like immediately. And what interesting details about the court, the three people that are his judges are all made up like historical tyrants.
Yep.
Yeah, like
I like that touch. That's fun.
that was pretty cool. His prosecutor and his defendant or whatever are both. One is number two, and the other one is the woman who's been like spying on him.
The observer.
The observer.
I think she's like number 215 or something.
Yeah. And then it ends with they sentence him to death, and then he starts running from the crowd, and it ends with him in this like room where messages are coming through. And he tries to wreck the machine the messages are coming through, but then it starts working again.
He speculates that it's people, and that's how people interact with number one.
Yeah.
Aye.
But it sort of ends with like, I guess they're implying that they already declared him dead anyway. I think is sort of the implication, like that the crowd is not going to go after him anymore because he's already dead. Yeah.
There's a lot of debate about what the end of this episode means. I think based on some later things, you can there's a few inferences you can make, and also it's Peter Pan. It's number two who is Peter Pan who is giving him this information, and I feel like there is something probably incredibly obvious, some bit of pregnant symbolism that I'm meant to divine for that, but I just don't feel like I can access it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Well, I think maybe in this world, everybody like this world maybe number 6, Patrick McGowan, maybe he's Hook. He's the Hook, and like everybody else is children.
I didn't even think of that. Everybody else could be Peter Pan characters. That's interesting.
Like everybody else is the Lost Boys, because it doesn't Peter Pan like it's he rolls over. I've actually never read that book, but doesn't he roll over an island that is filled with the kids, and that's the Lost Boys.
He boys that refuse to grow up. He takes you to his. It sounds sus when you just lay it out. It takes you to his magical island. No,
the year of our Lord 2025.
No, it does not. 100% Peter Pan would be in the redacted Epstein files. 100%. Like
that's why it's always played by a woman, I think.
Good point.
The stage plays, yeah.
And so I will say, having just shit a bit on this episode relative to the other ones, I do kind of like how it ends. The sort of diffuse, hard to really touch, kind of intangible quality is. I like that it ends on number 2 dressed as Peter Pan, having declared number 6 dead, and then laughing directly into the ending. It really, it almost. I'm trying to be I don't want to just suck the show's dick constantly just because I love it. I'm trying to really point out the sort of flawed or imperfect or lumpy parts as they appear. This really does sort of strike me. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing that would unlock this episode for me, but it just feels like it's there to be a number six story.
Yeah.
And because they like that actress, and she is good. It is a good performance. I like that number two. All the female number twos get really. It's interesting. They're allowed to be very different to each other, and they never delve into backstory or anything. So it's all in the performance and the writing, and that's pretty good for 1960s UK telly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if there's also some sort of implication too, where they're like, A, you're dead to the real world, but also we could just kill you at any time. And like I could stir this whole island up to murder you at a drop of a hat.
That is interesting.
Yeah. But it's also weird because like it's also I think that's also implied that the body that they dropped that washed up on shore was also planted because the stuff he puts back in the corpse's wallet to then send out to the sea they have at the court.
Yep.
That's what it is. That's why they're trialing him because I think he sent they found the stuff he was trying to send out to sea.
And that little radio.
The radio.
It's a radio.
That's right. That's right. That's what it was. It was the radio. Is him having the radio.
The radio was like contraband or whatever.
Yes.
Again, this feels like it would make a lot of sense in the very beginning because at some point you're like he's there, but he's unaware of like the scope of their power. I mean, in the first episode, you get everyone freezes. So like, well, the arrival. I assume that's supposed to be the first one.
That one is definitively the first one.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so if right after that, or one or two after that, you had like this display of I could turn all of them against you. Aren't you glad you're already dead? Because that kind of delivers this 1-2 punch of like you're powerless here, and just so you know, like no one's looking for you back home. Like that like you're dead now is a no one's looking for you thing, which I feel like doesn't have the same impact now as it would have at episode like 2 or 3.
Also, what did he hear when he tuned in on the radio? Like he's on that balcony ledge and like it picked up something odd. I don't remember what it was.
That was the moment where I really felt like, yeah, Lost ripped this show off.
Oh, was it the broadcast?
Yeah, there was some broadcast that he tunes into. Yeah,
I've got it here. Do you want me to read it out?
Sure.
It's not very long or anything. Nowhere is there more beauty than here. Tonight, when the moon rises, the whole world will turn to silver. Do you understand? It is important that you understand. I have a message for you. You must listen. The appointment cannot be fulfilled. Other things must be done tonight. If our torment is to end, if liberty is to be restored, we must grasp the nettle. Even though it makes our hands bleed, only through pain can tomorrow be assured.
Damn.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
So there is definitely, it's not just nonsense, you know what I mean? There is, but it is, I suppose actually having read that now, that some parts of the episode kind of fall into place a bit more neatly, but it's still, it feels like an episode that's a bit coy.
I think that's what threw me off so much was because other ones felt so, like you said, like there's a bow. You have that aha moment. I think now knowing that it's coy, if I go back and watch it, I'll love it. I'll probably love it.
I do still enjoy it. I never skip it. But that one and One of the others, what one was it? The General.
Yeah, the general.
Probably the two weakest of the show, I would say for me.
Wow.
Which is funny because Many Happy Returns and Schizoid Man are two of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so exciting to me that there's still we're not even halfway, like almost halfway.
Like the last four episodes in the original broadcast order, where that's when the co-creator leaves and Magoon is the one who's it's completely his baby from top to bottom at that point.
Huh.
I'm really excited to get there because, and again, it'll still be a really interesting conversation if I'm just totally wanking it off and you guys are like, oh no, it's shat the bed. People are right. He was right to lose his career. It was fucking terrible. And obviously that would be an interesting conversation. But just based on the stuff you guys are saying, I really think you're gonna enjoy when McGowan sort of cracks his fingers and says, right, how am I ending this show? What can I do?
Well, I think
I
that's
mean, it's unless it's like him just like flicking the bird of the camera while jerking off on a picture of Queen Elizabeth. I'm not sure what the fuck you have to do to
it's kind of like, I mean, our show, this podcast is rather meta. Like, and I think for us, it's kind of about the whole thing. I know, like personally, as long as he did what he felt was right, like
Aye.
that's what I want. I wanna feel it and understand it. And like I'll never hate that. Like maybe I would have enjoyed a different ending more,
I could see that.
but it's not even necessarily about enjoying. It's like
Mm.
I mean, if it were some fucking bubblegum show that I was just watching for fun, I'd be pissed if they suddenly did some really artsy ending when like there was
Yep.
no no
Aye.
no proper recourse, or it didn't feel like it fit. But with this, it's like this is already so far out into its own territory that it's like I
Hmm.
don't think you can do anything wrong from here because it's
I,
all like unique.
yeah.
Kurt's point there about it would take pretty much uh, one man pornographic stage play with Patrick McGowan just touching himself to a portrait of the Queen. Like that sort of is exactly how I feel about it. I I think we spoke a wee bit about this last time about films like Megalopolis, right? In a lot of ways, that's almost a complete failure of a film in a certain sense. But
I
I'm
haven't seen it.
all, I know I think it's totally worth watching, and I personally really enjoy it. Right, I do think a lot of the complaints about it are valid and whatever, but I'm always going to root for an interesting, compelling, singular failure than
Yeah.
a boilerplate success, which is just assembly line. At this point, having seen, you guys are probably the same. All the TV I've seen, the books I've read, the films I've watched, I'm more interested in a sort of the sort of holistic. How does it land? How interesting is it? Because there is a kind of nobility in creative failure. I think
Yeah.
I don't think that actually makes some like Ken Russell. We were talking about him last time. One of my favorite directors. All of his films have a slightly rickety, malfunctioning. This could go veer right off course at any moment. Kind of energy to them.
Hmm.
And the productions were always really anarchic and wild. But I love that. I love that quality in art. You know what I mean? I'm you couldn't prescribe it for everybody, and by definition, it's rarely going to be mass market because it is so off the beaten path. But
Yeah.
I just I don't think something being trashy or partially unsuccessful makes it not worth experiencing. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes actually deeply unsuccessful things are much more engaging and entertaining.
And I completely agree. I'm
Um,
the Tommy Wiseau soul film, The Room.
yeah,
If
that is definitely a
I
version of it. Yeah.
or Neil Breen's entire filmography.
Which I've yet to watch one of his.
Oh,
I'm
you
really curious.
you like them. You will like them. Every single thing he's ever put his name to, he's like the alternate universe Woody Allen. Well, he thinks he's making these wee literate sort of weird like chamber dramas, and he's so untalented that his lack of talent becomes compelling.
Yeah.
And like actually compelling, no, so bad it's good. It actually becomes, in its own way, perversely enjoyable to watch. Like
Yeah,
genuinely, you know what I mean?
I do.
I think I totally get what you're saying there.
That
Um,
description you just said reminds me of the movie Possession. Like immediately that
Oh,
movie came to mind where I'm like
definitely.
yeah.
well, uh, it I think Rev and I have talked about like how we both sort of like True Detective season 2.
I love it.
Oh, you do too.
I love
Okay,
it
yeah.
because I'm a season two True Detective truther. I've been
Holy shit.
you guys are. I'm not just saying this. I think you
I
two guys and Kelby for Agitator are the only people I've ever seen give any praise to season two.
I didn't know
Oh
Kelby
shit.
liked it.
I think
I didn't
Kelby
know
likes
Kelby
it.
liked it.
I'm sure he
That's
likes
crazy.
it.
Uh
Uh,
yeah, God, I love season two.
I love it. I love I'm a big fan of James Elroy, and to me, that is the best attempt to put James Elroy's prose on screen that's
Hmm.
ever happened. You know what I mean? I love all the reasons that people don't like it, like the overheated Vince Vaughn monologues.
I love
is
it.
yeah,
I,
no,
I love it.
I remember when that it was crazy because I remember all of my friends when that show was premiering and all of them shitting on the writing of it. And like to me, I was always like, I'm like, dude, I think I was like, well, to me that he strikes me as that character as someone who's aspiring to be more than just a thug. So yeah, he's going to have this
Exactly.
really complex, over
Hmm.
florid dialogue because he thinks that's a way to raise above his station. And like to me, it made total sense. But
Completely.
yeah, everybody fucking hated it.
Hmm.
People despise that show.
They hate the Lynchian touches. They hate
Yeah,
the move away from sort of Lovecraftian Southern Gothic into the Lynchian neo noir, like jet black, hard boiled stuff, or the
yeah,
sort of Chinatown, fucking uh, well, industrial fucking espionage shit. I love
yeah,
all that stuff. The really sort of Raymond Chandler, impossible to get your head around conspiracies
yeah,
that you almost can't really work it out. Like who is there's like five different triple crosses. It's really hard to keep it all straight, but I genuinely love that kind of labyrinthian. Again, I understand why somebody could not enjoy that. I do understand, but for me, it's I would almost say I enjoy season two more than season one, and season one is better made.
Yep.
It comes together more successfully. It's there's a neater bow. Uh, you've got the just incredible chemistry of McConaughey and Harrelson, and obviously there are two extra main characters. But I think the performances in season two are just as good.
Yeah.
It's just the characters are all fucked up,
horrible. They're
unhappy
horrible
people.
people.
They're all
Yeah,
terrible
I
people.
I
yeah.
fucking like I did not even like Colin. Like Colin Farrell just bothered me
Oh,
forever.
he's
And
amazing.
then
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
incredible.
watched season two of True Detective and something flipped and I went back and watched Colin Farrell movies where he annoyed me before and I love him now.
He's a great actor. I
Just
actually know what
from
you mean.
that
I
season.
I think I literally had that same thing about Colin Farrell, but it was the film In Bruges that
yes.
made me go back and rewatch him. It wasn't True
And Bruges
Detective.
is incredible.
A
Yeah.
great film, but up until that point, I'd always thought, oh, he's just a fucking pretty boy. He's not a good actor.
Hmm.
I had like a weird bee in my bonnet about him,
So did
but
I.
I have no fucking idea why. Because now I go back and I watch even his early stuff. He's great. He's almost never great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's almost never not being
not
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, okay, so I had ideas about maybe the three of us a show we could do after we finish The Prisoner. Um So I definitely think we should do True Detective season 2 because also no one talks about it.
Aye, that's true.
Uh,
I'd 100%.
I bet we
be
could
up for that.
actually lose some subscribers.
No, you will lose subscribers. People don't want to hear praise for that show. Like, I did miss the period where people were Frank Semyon posting, where you had these people on Twitter writing, and that really
Yeah.
florid. Like it's almost like
And like posting a picture of the stain on the ceiling.
incredible, man, incredible. I loved all that stuff. That actually made me like the show even more. That you could take it into these outlandish mimetic realms, and to me that didn't like open my eyes up to, oh no, people are right, this is actually like really bad and overwritten and misogynist. And look, I understand the misogyny thing, right? But it's fucking noir, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's a genre for the boys. That just is what it is. I'm not saying there isn't a moral quality to that. I think misandry and misogyny can be additive in art. You know what I mean? Aye.
Yeah, no. You finish your thought.
No, that was it. That was it.
Well, yeah, no. I really like the last year I got into watching a whole bunch of old noirs. Most really good noirs are fucking incredible. They're so
Yep.
good. But there is particularly there's this movie Crisscross. I don't know if you've ever seen it with I think it's Burt Lancaster.
Oh, yep. I've seen that. That is great.
And there's the character of the femme fatale who I know there's been a bunch of I know that there was a lot of feminist critiques about. I don't remember. I don't know what they are. I think it's just more. I'm not sure if it's just like, oh, you can't show a woman being evil. But to me, there is something about like a really hot woman that a white knight idiot will ruin their life for. And I think it's important to know that that's a real thing. Like there's there are women out there that are just like, they just ooze sexuality but it's a siren. If you follow them, you're fucked. They're going to ruin your life. And I don't think, and it's actually, to me, it's like actually a powerful feminine archetype, but it's just not, I don't know. It's the more demonic side, the dark side. And I think that's disappeared. I don't know that we have that anymore. It's not allowed to be.
Like overly intellectualized
Yep.
university thinking that makes
critical theory.
Oh yeah, we can't portray women as this because like what the fuck are you talking about? Have you opened a history book lately? Like you're not going to change human nature and you're not going to erase archetypes by just changing the curriculum. Like you can't do that. It's not going to work.
The other show I was thinking about pitching to you guys, and I don't think you ever saw it, Rev, and I don't know if you saw it, Joe, is the OA on Netflix.
I saw the first season.
I only saw the first season, but I really liked that.
Okay,
really liked the first season.
All right. Okay, that's amazing that you've only seen the first season. The second season is 1000% batshit. It's
right.
way crazier. It's just I'll save it. But if you guys were interested in covering that, and it's funny because it's only 2 seasons and it's roughly the same episode count as The Prisoner.
Cool.
It's 16 versus 17. But that was another show I was thinking of pitching to you guys if you wanted to cover, because I love that show.
I really liked that first season. I only watched it one time, so I never even rewatched it. And I think the only reason I didn't watch season 2 is because I think I was just watching other things, maybe had some various life shit going on at that time. And then it just sort of passed me by. And it'd been that long that I would have to have rewatched season 1. And I just never done it for whatever reason. But I really enjoyed that first season. And it's pretty strange.
It's weird.
That was Netflix as well.
Yeah, it was.
But by and away, the strangest thing Netflix have ever done. That's like proper sort of auteur experimental television, you know what I mean? It's pretty fucking weird. And one of my favorite singers, Sharon Van Etten. She's in the OA. She's one of the characters, and she's really good in it.
Oh,
Aye.
what were you gonna say,
Um,
Rip?
it just I was reminded from some post that someone, I think it was actually Aeon Byte, like made a meme post that had, it reminded me of like my favorite Netflix show that no one ever fucking talks about that is absolutely incredible. Maniac. Have you seen
Is that
Maniac?
is that the Emma Stone thing?
Yeah.
I've never
Speaking of
watched
that,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I've
It's
heard it's good though.
it's incredible. It has no right to be on Netflix and to be like it felt like a ghost. Like it came out and it just no one even knows about it. No one ever talked about
Is
it.
that the one with her and Jonah Hill? Is it Jonah
Yeah,
Hill? Okay,
yeah.
yeah. No, I have never seen that either.
Are they
It's
like gone to therapy or
shockingly
something?
good. What's that?
Are they like gone to therapy? Is that like the premise of the show or something?
The premise of the show is like it starts off in a dystopian future where you can make a few bucks by like watching ads on your phone to like get groceries and shit.
So reality? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I like
pretty
this
much
already.
and then they go to essentially some program to brainwash you into being happier, I believe. I forget actually what the premise is, but I think it's to make you like forget about a person.
Oh, the
Um
kind of eternal sunshine of the spotless mind kind of stuff.
it's reminiscent of that, but so much more weird and stylized.
Aye,
Like it has this retrofuturism vibe, but it's really
cool.
successfully done. And then the like it's not just the main characters that are odd. Like every side character is just like deeply disturbed in their own way, and it's constantly coming out. And like the genius doctor who's running this whole thing, like he made this AI that's designed after his mother, who he has a lot of issues with, and it's just brilliant.
Okay, so we got our roster going.
I would be up for watching that as well. Like it's a few people have actually, and it's people whose tastes I quite trust have recommended that to me. That's just one that I just never got around to watching for whatever reason. But
Mhm.
I like Jonah Hill, although he's sort of like a Seth Rogen figure where if you go on his Twitter, he's going to really try and make you not like him, like Stephen King. But
Yeah,
and Emma Stone, what can you even say about her? I think she is incredible.
she's a national treasure.
Incredible.
Um,
I really sort of hate that you still have people who are like, she's overrated, and it's like, no, I think
Nah, I
she's
don't
well
think she
regarded
is.
for good reason, actually.
yeah, no, she's fantastic.
Yeah, just watch her in those Lethargius, whatever the hell his name is,
Yorgos
movies.
Lanthimos. Aye.
Lanthimos, like anything that she's in, that he's, yeah, she's.
Aye. She like acts all. I was going to say on nuts off. She acts all tits off the entire time. Whenever she works with that guy, you can tell that they are like they really energize each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can literally feel that. It's like Rev brought up Possession earlier. I can't say that director's name. My accent wasn't made to pronounce Polish names.
No, no one's accent was made to pronounce Polish names. Not even Polish accents.
That's probably true. But his similar working relationship with Isabella Gianni in that film, that has a very similar to me to Lantimos and Emma Stone, where you can just feel, or like Laura Dern and David Lynch, you can feel that these people are sort of they're doing the improv thing together, they're doing the and then or whatever, you know what I mean? They're like the
Yeah,
call and response thing. And I always love when you can feel that with a director and an actress or an actor.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, Emma Stone has this quality that she feels like actors felt 50 years ago. I don't know what that is, but like she has this vibe where she's like taken out of time and somehow brings class that we don't see in Hollywood anymore to the screen again.
I think I totally agree with that. Actually, I've never really thought about it in those exact terms, but there is a old school. It's like it's not just watchability. It's not just charisma. It's like this. It's the kind of screen presence that you literally can't teach it. Like people
Yeah.
either have it or they don't have it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what I mean?
glow.
I definitely.
Um,
she's one of the few actors I would say that about who's working today.
There's probably a couple more, but like yeah, there's not a
Aye,
lot.
there's not a lot.
Um,
She'd make a great number two.
She'd make an incredible number two.
I'd watch her in anything, to be honest.
Aye, so would I. I will watch things just on the strength of her being in it.
Yeah. Um, so does anybody have any closing comments, thoughts, or remarks? We're getting close to the 2 hour mark.
No, I mean, uh, if what we've now seen is maybe the worst the show has to offer us, that's incredible to me.
Hmm.
Because neither one of these quote unquote weaker episodes were bad. They're all like, it's like the Twilight Zone or something. It's just that, like, you can't
Good
not watch it.
comparison.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, yeah, and it's funny because even the episode we were mostly like, what the fuck was that? There was still things that you pull out of it that's engaging and interesting, and
Well, if you
so
guys had been in the room to like talk about it afterwards and debate it, like it probably wouldn't have even started flat. We would have just jumped in.
yeah,
I think that
Hmm.
it's a conversation starter more than it is like a nice little bow one.
Aye, definitely. And there is maybe one or two more episodes that are in that kind of vicinity rather than the orgiastic. Like you watch the Schizoid Man and you just want to proselytize. You want to
yeah.
grab people on the street and go, "Fucking watch this episode, dude." Don't even watch the ones previous. You know what I mean? Just watch this
Either
episode.
you watch this episode, or I'm going to drug you and sting your writing hand.
But
It's like,
aye. Sorry, on you go.
oh, it's like that. I saw that reel the other day of like, point of view, like you're kidnapped by a Tool fan, and it's like this girl, like, duct taping you and telling you about like, and the chord progression is in 6/15 and blah blah blah, and then like, well, come time to go to the basement. It's like dragging you. That's yeah, I could totally see doing that with this show.
Uh, oh my god, Tool! Holy shit!
Sorry, I didn't. I hope I didn't make you forget what you were gonna say.
No, no.
Um,
Actually, that's the auditory equivalent of the prisoner is Tool.
you're not wrong. That's true. And it's befuddlement.
Yes, it's a lot of. Is this a joke? Are they in on the joke? What's the? Do they believe this? Do they not believe this? What is?
Aye.
Is this time signature gonna come back around, or
He
that
he
just it?
arranges his drums in like sacred geometry order, like what or something. I
Aye.
don't. Yeah,
Aye. Like the Dance of the Dead episode definitely feels like the sort of free jazz. Nothing resolves. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Every two phrases, there's a new sort of melodic turnaround that never
Yes,
comes back. You know what I mean? It's still enjoyable to listen to, but
that's
it doesn't
amazing.
it doesn't hit the conventional pleasure centers. You know what I mean? That the other episodes do.
That's an incredible analogy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick McGoon.
In my head, I saw Frank Zappa playing drums on the bicycle.
I feel like Frank Zappa must have loved The Prisoner. Surely, it's very Zappa. It's very in that mold.
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting thing. I would love to see like some kind of like documentary or study or something on musicians that I love and like what their favorite fucking TV shows and films were. Um, that would be neat.
I know. I always used to. That's actually what you just said there is how I used to pre-internet and later on when
Yeah,
all we had was dial-up, so it was still kind of like Stone Age internet. That's how I would find other bands or films or books
yeah,
is I would try and get interviews with people I already liked and find out what influenced them. Sometimes even what did they not like, and
yeah.
I would go and look at that stuff. And that was my go-to model. Finding out about cool shit. and
Yeah,
bad shit for years.
I treasured every Alan Moore interview.
Yep.
I came across it. All of them were like 9,000 pages long.
Yep. Yep.
And it was usually like the interviewer asked like 2 sentence questions, and then there's like an essay
Aye.
and response, and he was always some of the most obscure shit he
Oh,
would pop up in
100%.
those interviews.
Hmm.
Earliest pulp, like the
Aye.
uh yeah, there's some book that is basically like Superman before Superman that's
Hmm.
written in the either the late 1800s or the really early 1900s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think. Uh, but yeah, just crazy obscure stuff.
Mhm. Aye. Alan Moore was definitely one of the figures for me. Um, like you said, he wasn't shy. You could say he's a kind of a very different person, obviously, but he was kind of in that Quentin Tarantino autist mold where
Yeah.
he's just ready to rattle off a whole list of influences and things that he referenced. But I appreciate creators like that who they don't play the sort of coy game and they go, oh well, I try not to. It's like when Death Grips would say, "We're not really influenced by any other music," and it's like,
Bullshit.
go fuck yourself. Obviously you are. Like I love your music, but go fuck yourself. Obviously you are.
The only person I kind of believe when they tell me that is Aphex Twin.
Oh well, right. Good point. He's a special case. I could buy that he does genuinely only listen to like
Computer sounds.
computer sounds, weird sound collage stuff, ambient recordings, and all that. I could fully believe that. Or like ambient recordings, or like city streets and all that. I could believe that about him, but very few other people
Yeah, I
would.
completely agree. It's like more of a flex than anything. Um, well, guys, I gotta go eat dinner.
No problem.
But
Yes, sir.
this has been good.
Yeah.
Aye,
So much
that was
fun.
good.
So much fun to talk about. Yeah, what a fucking adventure.
I
I
know.
can't
Aye.
wait for the rest.
No, I just can't wait for the episodes that we still have to watch. It's very exciting.
Oh shit.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very it's actually hard to only watch 4 episodes a week right now, but like I think that's
Yeah,
a good
yeah. There
pace.
is like a noticeable like I gotta pull the emergency brake now.
aye,
Yeah.
aye.
I'm doing
I'm,
like 1 episode a day starting on Monday and then just leading into it. But
aye,
yeah.
that's a good way of doing it.
All right, I'm gonna cut this off. Thanks guys. Thanks for listening at home and see you next
Remember, you're
time.
not a number. You are a
You
person.
you are not a number. Be seeing you.